All right, welcome back from the Fun Fact, and I want to take this moment to introduce you to another friend. Her name is Heather Basak, and she works with the National Parks. She is a National Park Ranger at Yellowstone National Park. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit cold. My brain is still sharp, don't worry.
Okay.
All right, so now the Shoshone National Forest is a part of the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, which encompasses 18 million acres. Now, what is the greater Yellowstone ecosystem and why is it important?
Yeah, so we're actually standing right in the middle of the greater Yellowstone ecosystem right here. And it's one of the largest and most intact ecosystems in the continental United States. Now, the entire 18 million acres, and you can think about that like 18 million football fields put together, is one giant ecosystem because it has a lot of the same characteristics. Our underlying geology is made up of some volcanic features, as well as some glacially carved landforms. We also have wetlands, grasslands, forests, and alpine or high mountain habitat here. And of course, we have some really wonderful wildlife like bears, wolves, bison, golden eagles, and trout that all call this chilly place home. Now, over time, as we learned more and more about the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, we've come to realize just how important having both large and intact or connected ecosystems are.
So why is it that the size matters? Why does a large ecosystem, why is that better?
Sure, so size can make a difference because all animals need several things in order to live. They all need food, water, shelter, and this last one, space. We often forget about that one, but space has a lot of great benefits for our wildlife. There's more room for different species to be in the same area. There's more room for migration routes or large home ranges. And then it helps our wildlife actually cope with natural events like disease, fires, flooding, drought, because animals can move from the affected area to one that's not. Now, we see all these benefits actually right here in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. For example, grizzly bears, an adult male, may travel up to 2,000 square miles in their lifetime.
Wow.
Amtrak, that would be like if you walked every single inch of Delaware. It's huge. And our bears actually need all that much space because they need to use different food sources and different habitats at different times of year.
So I can, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but our bears are not the only ones that take advantage of this massive amount of space. Our ungulates or hooved mammals like bison, elk, and pronghorn can migrate up to 100 miles or more from their summer ranges to winter ranges where it's easier for them to find food. And as they travel, they actually cross political boundaries, public lands, and private property.
So I can see that if they're going hundreds of miles, that the connection of that land is important. How about you let the kids know a bit more about why that connection is important?
Yeah, so size isn't the only important thing. Connections across state lines, public lands, and private property is so important for our ecosystem health. And we're having a little bit of an issue with the connections in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem.
Like what?
More and more people are moving into this area, building houses, building roads and fences, and it can make it difficult for animals to travel through it because it can fragment or break apart ecosystems into much smaller pieces. You can think about that like islands of habitat surrounded by an ocean of buildings, roads, and fences.
Okay.
And our pronghorn are having a little bit of trouble with that. Now, when you look at a fence on private property, you may not think that it's a really big deal because deer and elk will be able to jump right over it, but our pronghorn won't. They actually crawl underneath the fences. So if there's a really low fence, our pronghorn might have to travel miles out of their migration route in order to find some place to cross. And sometimes they unfortunately get stuck in the barbed wire.
Ouch.
Ouch indeed.
Ouch.
Now, other animals might have some other problems because fragmentation can create less habitat for them. Every year, animals all over the country get hit by cars as they cross busy highways, busy roads, just trying to access different parts of their habitat. Some animals have even moved into human areas where they can come into conflict with people. So we have these problems, but I have some really good news.
We need some good news.
We have some good news. Now, as we are identifying these problems, people are coming up with solutions how to make these ecosystems intact again.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so some ranchers are starting to redo their fences so pronghorn can more easily travel underneath without getting stuck. And there are even wildlife bridges in some parts of the country that cross busy highways and roads. And so it drastically reduces the amount of wildlife death there. But what I think is so amazing about these solutions is that it shows cooperation between public lands like us and private citizens. And so it really shows that we can all do our part to protect our ecosystems and keep them connected.
So awesome.
I know.
I know we manage a lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a whole 400 million acres of state and private lands that we get to share our science with through our state and private forestry. Yes. So thank you for filling us in on the importance of keeping these large ecosystems intact. And we are going to go to some question and answers because that's so important.